Legend of the Three Storms by Aillin. There is a legend that say on an ordinary day like any other, a huge storm out of nowhere opens a portal to another world, changing the fate of an entire world. But who on earth believes in legends like this? If no one else, our protagonists will. Who after an ordinary day, accompanied by an army of students and the ringing of the bell, headed home through the main gate of the school. Chapter 1. The first storm. As soon as the three friends stepped out of the gate, a cold wind hit them and dark clouds gathered in the sky. It's cold. Zena hugging herself. The black-blue checkered skirt and white short-sleeved shirt with a black bow that she wore as part of her uniform was not exactly designed for cold weather. The wind played with her shoulder-length red hair, and she squinted her dark pink eyes, avoiding the swirling dust. "We better hurry," suggested Takashi, who was the last to follow his friends. His shoulder-length tangled red hair was not helped much by the weather, while he fixed his determined red eyes on the road in front of them. He walked with quick steps, under the ominous sky. It even started to rain. Aki was wearing a white shirt and black pants with a black bag, which he was holding above himself. He looked disapprovingly up at the sky. Holding on to the brown shoulder bag, Zena sped up her steps as it started raining. "Let's run. I don't want to be here when the lightning starts." Aiaka's crystal green eyes reflected her restlessness. At the same time as she finished the sentence, a huge black destructive storm descended and took shape in the distance. In the middle of the lightning that shook the sky and the earth, Aiaka froze and collapsed, struggling with tears. "Aiaka." Zena worriedly knelt next to the trembling Aiaka. Stroking her rich black hair that reached the middle of her back, tried to calm her down. Takashi also approached his friend, who was struggling with fear. Wearing a blue-black checkered skirt and a dark blue short-sleeved shirt with a half-moon pattern on the collar. "Pull yourself together." He helped the girl up from the ground, who trembled with each lightning strike, while hurricane-force winds tore the trees. They looked closely at the increasingly raging storm, in which it was a struggle to even stay on one's feet. Aiaka clung tightly to her black shoulder bag, with her short sword in her hand, which she had received from her mother and carried with her everywhere, ready for battle. She was allowed to carry it with her as long as she didn't use it inside the school. "We need to find a shelter from the storm. Now." As soon as Takashi said it, a huge lightning bolt struck from the sky, then disappeared with the three friends, leaving only a wide crater behind. The next day on the news, yesterday afternoon, a sudden storm caused huge damage in the southern part of the nation. It uprooted trees, destroyed houses, scattered pieces is everywhere on the streets. Researchers are still investigating the case. No bodies were found at the scene, nor were the locals. "It is like the earth has swallowed them up," announced the news reporter standing in front of the storm-stricken part of town. Meanwhile, in another, unknown world, Takashi, Zena and Aiaka lay among the scattered pieces, on a field covered with silver grass. Everything hurts. After so many fights, this feeling was already familiar to Takashi, who weakly opened his eyes, and looked at his hand full of scratches with a hazy look. "I was beaten? I don't remember fighting." He turned onto his back. Looking up, he saw the bluish-red clouds, a silvery blue sky and a red shining sun. "What a strange dream," thought Takashi, before his head snapping up at the strong flapping of the dragon's wings as it flew directly above him. For a while he followed it with his eyes in shock as flies away. Then he quickly looked around the strange landscape. Zena was just wiping the sleep from her eyes and Aiaka was there not far from them, still lying unconscious. It took a few minutes for Zena to take in the sight too. "Aiaka. Aiaka. Wake up. You have to see this too." Zena shook her excitedly, suddenly not knowing what to do with herself in her joy. With deep admiration in her eyes, she looked at the many colorful mystical creatures, what they only seen in movies so far. Beautiful. Zena spun around in the silver grass. Where are we? Is this a dream? Aiaka blinked in confusion. It's a bit too realistic for that. Takashi clenched his fist, and his wounds showed their displeasure with pain. The storm. A lightning strike us? Ayaka's face turned pale from the memory. How are we? Before she could finish, they found themselves facing two unknown women. The shorter woman had long red tied-up hair, had half red and blue eyes. Her black skin was covered in places with marks similar to burn wounds. There were black markings on her chest, and she was dressed in another shade of black, clothes suitable for battle. Beside her stood a woman with long wavy blue hair with ice crystals in it, which also covered her fair skin in places. With ice blue eyes, a cold look, elf ears, pointed teeth, with nails similar to blue crystal, in black clothes suitable for battle, embodying the coldness. Right in front of their eyes, she formed an ice blade in her hand, causing Aiaka to rest her hand on the sword hidden in her bag, ready for battle. I don't know who you are, but if you attack us, we will defend ourselves, declared Aiaka. They speaks our language, said the woman with ice blades suspiciously. We don't want to hurt you. If you don't want to hurt us, said the other shorter woman. I'm Reiko. If I guess correctly, you are not from Zafikawa, resting his hand on the other woman's shoulder, holding his companion back. Zafikawa? All three of them asked back. I've never heard about it, told them Aiaka suspiciously. Of course not. Look around. This is not our world anymore. Takashi said it the obvious. This is the magic world. Zena, somewhat baffled by the situation, but still enthusiastic. You sound like you've never met magic before. Reiko surprised. In our world, such things only exist in legends and fantasy. Takashi stated the facts casually, and the two women share a look. If that's true, you'd better come with us, before something attack you. Reiko motioned for them to follow. In unknown territory, with dragon-like creatures all around them, as none of the three had a better idea, they follow the nice stranger. After they picked up their bags, they followed Reiko while the other one came after them to keep an eye on them. The city, resembling white marble and surrounded by a purple enchanted forest, welcomed them with gray, cobblestone streets. A crystal castle stood out like a jewel in the heart of the city. Various creatures with interesting skin colors, extra body parts, and with a tattoo-like pattern walked in the streets. The novelty of the sight made many of the creature to stare at the three, which they returned. Through the arched crystal corridors of the castle, they reached the spacious hall that reminded them of a throne room. From behind the throne, in an elegant blue floor-length dress embellished with a gold crown, a woman with a noble aura stepped forward with light steps, whose face was patterned with blue lines lighter than her light blue skin, completed by elf ears. Her blue eyes were decorated with crystals. Her tied-up dark blue and purple hair was also had crystals mixed in, and her hair was decorated on both sides with something similar to bat wings. Your Majesty. The two accompanying them bowed before the noble-looking woman. Azera. Reiko. She received both of them, then turned towards the three new face. Welcome in Zafikawa. I'm Sora, and who are you? She asked with a patient smile. Aiaka. She stepped forward. My friends Takashi Aki and Zena. Introduced them, and Takashi also greeted Sora with a nod. Happy to meet you. Greeted Zena as well. We found them at the city border, where the light hit. Reiko's words raised questions. They claimed to be from a world without magic. Azera gave them a hostile look. From a world without magic. Perhaps the mirror of water can provide answers for both of us, Sora heading in one direction. They don't trust us, Takashi understanding as they followed Sora to the courtyard, in the middle of which was a kind of fountain decorated with marble crystals, with crystals floating above it. They stopped at the fountain and Aiaka, as if she knew what to do, touched the surface of the water. It was as if a movie came alive in the water, showing when the lightning struck them and everything was covered in light, then disappeared, leaving only a crater. After that, a blue light zigzagged through the sky of Zafikawa and crashed down onto the silver field, scattering the ruins and leaving the three of them behind. The lightning was a portal, concluded Sora easily. If there is no magic in their world, how can they speak our language? Argued Azair accusingly. Probably the effect of the portal. According to the mirror of water, they don't lie, Azair. Sora calmly. Reiko. Azair. They are here. Runs up to them a young girl, who looks like the queen approximately, Aki's age, barefoot in a knee-length black off-the-shoulder dress, with elf ears. Black marks on her face, white skin of which the crystals were also a part. Crystals floated around wrists like bracelets, and her dark blue waist-length hair was also completed with crystals. Even in her crystal blue eyes were crystals, as if confirming the words. From the gates opening in the sky, various creatures comes and collided in the invisible force field, which was probably a magic shield. In some of the creatures, Aki could discover features similar to the creatures of his world. Among them were some griff-like creatures made of flames, and many dinosaurs-like creatures. Some werewolf-like creatures with devilish horns, who instilled fear in the locals with their predatory gazes. Well, this is something. Takashi admiring the army, from which stood out two women, one with curly copper-brown hair, red skin and harpy wings with black feathers, with completely blue eyes, in a black dress and with a witch smile, watched those below her. Next to her was a woman with long white hair, horns in her hair and demonic golden eyes, pointed ears, red demonic wings and black nails crowning her long fingers like a weapon. Along with purple scales on her whiter than paper skin was lined with traces of battle and darkness. Even from this distance, she had notifiable blue lips with a red mark on the right side of her face. Azair didn't hesitate, pulling out two ice blades and threw herself into the fight. The shield has been cracked and the creatures trying to break in crashed into the city like comets. One of them aimed straight at Zena, and Aiaka pulled her sword out in one movement and distracted it from its goal, facing the attackers rushing towards them, some of whom Takashi also gets in their way. Smiling, Aki dropped his bag and jumped away from the creature that launched itself at him, straight to its head. Tell me, have you ever heard of tactics? It answered Takashi's sarcastic words with a wild look, so he kicked it against a pillar. I think that means no. Somewhat disappointed. These creatures fight with instinct. Takashi studying their behavior. Well then, let's have some fun. He focused on the fight and ran towards the multitude of creatures and knocked out the first one that ran towards him. That hurts. It has tough skin, shaking his hand trying to get rid of the pain. Different from our previous fights, but just as fun. Illen would love it. He could beat them all without rules. He grinned and jumped into the air, where he spun and kicked the next one in the head, knocking over a few more. This is too easy. Takashi, be alert. This is a different world and your opponents are not human. Aiaka sternly reminds him. I'm always alert. Takashi shout back, grinning. Aiaka rewarded his words with a slight smile, but she was noticeable tense by the fact that this was another world. The demon Shiori and the harpy Ayami watched the battle from the air, where an unknown red-haired boy hit one of the flying opponents to the ground with so much force that a crater was created. Then, with the same motion, He spun around and kicked another one, causing it to fly through the air and disappeared from their sight. Why hasn't a warrior of this level taken part of the battle before? Shiori wondered, who, following orders, watched the events while taking care of controlling the army and getting through the shield. The book, shouted Princess Sayuri, drawing everyone's attention to Ayami, who took advantage of the fact that the fight was distracting them, got what they came for. Ayami glided between the columns with her harpy wings, with the book in her hand, which she was showing off triumphantly. With a quick movement, the red-haired boy took it out of her hand. It was expected that someone would take advantage of her carelessness at some point. I don't understand why she was entrusted with this task. Shiori disapprovingly. You? Ayami crossed the distance between them immediately, with just a few fierce flaps of her wings. She tried to get the book back but Aiaka catch it, and threw the book. The black-haired girl caught it in the air. The book was engulfed in light along with the girl. By the time the light went out, the book was gone and only the girl fell back in confusion. Shiori immediately understood the failure of the mission and sighed. That enough. Teleport lightning. Legendary creatures, a magical world and books that disappear into nothing. Aiaka angrily. There was something strange in her words, as if this was all new to her. Shiori finding it strange. Get out of my sight. Aiaka punched the new attackers who were targeting her. It would be best if we report right away. Shiori flapped her wings and took off. She also waved to Ayami, who left with less enthusiasm. Something has changed. As if my soul become closer within a tangible distance. A force both foreign and familiar passed through me. Aiaka restlessly. Goodbye. Newbies. The back-winged woman waved to us. Exotaris. The entire army teleported away at the whiter-haired demon woman's word. Seriously? Aiaka angrily. What was that? Asked Aiaka immediately Sora. The situation is that we are under attack, although for now we are trying to limit ourselves to self-defense. But it is only a matter of time before it turns into a war. Sora answered sadly, then turned to the young girl with dark blue hair, similarly adorned with crystals. The girl's blue crystal-patterned eyes met hers. My daughter, I know how much you care about the fate of our nation. But you can't risk your health. Remember your duty to stay alive. She scolded her sternly. This explains why she looked so much like the queen. Aiaka, not wanting to interfere in their family matter. I'm sorry if I caused you concern, but this is my fight too. In her voice showed her bitterness. Duty. The princess of a country that is at war. Aiaka sadly. Sayuri, you should rest. Sora suggested in a soothing tone. Her daughter didn't fight. She took a seat next to one of the pillars. What were those creatures? Aiaka asked her, still trying to understand the situation. Not that we knew what they were. Aiaka looking at Sora. The instinctive ones adorned with demonic horns are the devil wolves, while the collective name for all sorts of mixtures is Cerberus. Reiko answer. We really were in another world, where demons existed. Aiaka holding her own head. Now you believe we came from somewhere else. Then also tell us, how can we go home? Aiaka demanded. Home? But we just got here. Zena confused. They attacked us earlier. Aiaka scolded her. She hasn't realized the danger yet. Takashi knows the reason well. There have been other examples of it. Zena muttered. She always loved to come with us, despite how dangerous it was. Aiaka, who mainly went with her friends to protect them during the battles. As a matter of fact, I want to stay too. Takashi with a smile. Why doesn't this surprise me? Aiaka tiredly burying her face in her hands. You're not even a little afraid? Reiko a little surprised. We grew up among warriors, so to speak, and we're used to fighting. And he's even looking for it. Fear is not in his dictionary. Aiaka looking at Takashi disapprovingly. I promise that we'll do everything we can to get you home, but it might take time. In the meantime, Reiko, take care of their room, Sora began. Reiko nodded and left. As you have seen, Zafikawa is fighting the Crystal Empire, who are conquering cities and countries one after another without stopping. As the ruler, it is my responsibility to protect my kingdom and fulfill their requests. And although I see you are doing quite well, I would like you to master soul magic while you are here, Sora shared with them, already sitting on the edge of the fountain. Soul magic? Zena asked. Exactly, just like as air as ice. It can vary from person to person. Sora replied. You want us to cast spells? Takashi turned around. Tell me if we need to fight. He left with seemingly cold calm. It seems he has his limits too, Aiaka finding some comfort in the fact. I'll try. If I can help with it. Without it, I don't think I would be of much use anyway. Zena admitted with bitter smile. You can count on me and Takashi while we're here. Aiaka emphasized. Not knowing what will happen after they have a safe way home. Thank you. Sora with a tired smile. It's in our best interest too. You accept us into your home. Into your trust. This is the least we can do. Aiaka said much more firmly. This is so exciting. Zena almost jumped for joy. I'm sure Illen would also be eager to fight and Camille would also like the magical world, and Midori. Aiaka hesitated, thinking about her sister's reaction. What happened to the book? Aiaka asked the question that bothered her. It's yours now. It awakened something that was dormant in you. It did its job. Aiaka was not thrilled with Sora's answer. Why did they need that book? Zena curiously. They probably wanted to awaken something. For Sora tone it seemed that whatever they wanted was not good. Okay, then let's see. What's the first step? Aiaka diverted the subject. There was no point in guessing anyway. Your abilities will be displayed in the fountain, Azera said coldly, who continued to keep an eye on them. Step in. Sora kindly gave some instructions. They both took off their shoes, stockings and such. Aiaka hesitated. She had mixed feelings about this whole magic thing. But she still took the first step. As soon as she stepped into the water, it was covered in light, and after the light dissipated, she slowly opened her eyes. From the floating mass of water in front of her that had taken the form of a weapon, Aiaka looked at Zena, who was admiring the signs on her arms that resembled leafy vines. What does it mean? Aiaka asked. The mark of the summoners. And you, Aiaka, are a weapons master who can fight magic with any weapon. You can strengthen weapons and cut magic in two, Sora explained. In another part of the world, in front of the Black Onyx Castle. After Ayami and Shiori returned, they had restored order among the instinctive ones, and only then did they approach their king Darren. Where is the book? He immediately asked them the question. A man standing barefoot in the dark with elf ears, eyes of red flame and gold flame. Crystals mixed into his light green hair, adorned with white angel wings and devil horns. His light blue skin was covered by dark blue, black and red crystals and a few wounds. Stranger appeared among them were two new warriors. One fought with a weapon while the other with his bare hands. Undoubtedly experienced and skilled warriors. They acquired and activated the book, Shiori reported, bowing before him. Warriors from another world. Liam showed his interest with a cheeky dark smile, not promising anything good with his presence. His demonic golden eyes, flame-colored hair. He stood out from the darkness, while his black skin and black translucent wings represented a whole different shade of darkness. But the answer was logical. Takashi remembering how the fountain was used before. You think this is a game? Aizen blurted out angrily. Or are you just that confident with your abilities? Tomorrow I will personally test you to see what kind of warrior you are. She told him angrily. If you want to fight, say so. I'll stand up to anyone. Anywhere. Anytime. Takashi enthusiastically. Arrogant. Aizen disapprovingly. Aiaka nods to indicate that it sounded a bit arrogant. Although that wasn't Takashi's intention. I managed to summon Ch1. Zena ran out of the palace enthusiastically. Although only for a short time. But I did it. Stopped in front of her friends. Don't worry. The beginning is always difficult. Aiaka comforted her. Even for Takashi. Zena looked at him. When Aiaka and I first met, I was about to lose. Takashi with a wide smile. Against group of seniors. Aiaka laughed. Seniors? Asked Reiko back. A group of old boys, about the same age as us now. Takashi, who was still a child at the time, didn't stand a chance. He was covered in wounds. He looked like he had been beaten several times, even his head was bleeding. But he was still able to get up with that determination. Told the story Aiaka. And you still hit me on the head and say, why didn't you stay on the ground instead? Takashi reminiscing nice memories. After that you scolded me. You're stupid if you think that if I give up I'll get away with less. Aiaka smiled. And after that? Zena, getting into the story. They ran away when Ayaka's father Torao appeared and her mother Keiko tended to my wounds. Torao made me promise that I wouldn't do anything like that until I defeated him, Takashi smiling at the memory. It meant a lot to me then. Since the aforementioned seniors were sent to me by my blood brother Kizuro. Takashi thinking back fondly. And did you succeed? Zena curiously. Zena, we talking about my father? In any case, I'm sure I haven't seen many running towards him with such a clear intention. Aiaka smiled brightly at the memory. We don't know how difficult tomorrow will be for us. Sora stood up. Reiko. Would you accompany them to their room? We'll take care of your other needs tomorrow, like clothes. They all nodded in agreement. Then Takashi picked up his bag that he had left in the courtyard. Passing by the marble columns, they followed Reiko down the crystal corridors. Zena and Aiaka got a room, but Takashi's new place was not far from theirs neither. Good night, the friends said reluctantly, and Takashi opened the light black marble door. The room was much higher than the corridor. With solid crystal walls, not much furniture. A double bed, a wardrobe and a door to the other room. Part of Takashi probably expected monsters, traps, or poison. He threw his bag on the bed, but nothing. Then he threw himself in too. Strange. But comfortable. We don't have anything personal except the contents of the school bag. Takashi looked inside his bag. There's not much in it. It's not like I'm attached to many things. He was taking his shoes off. I better be ready for anything, he decided, looking around the room. I wonder how much time has passed home. My mom must be very worried by now, and so are the others. By now Camille, Midori and Illen have also returned from the class trip. Zena curled up bitterly as soon as they entered the room and were left alone. Only now did she realize how far away we were from the others, Aiaka sadly. It's a magical world. There must be a way to contact them. I promise we will do it tomorrow as soon as we have the chance. But now we need to sleep so that our bodies get used to this world. Aiaka encouraged her, gently stroking her back. You are my best friends. Zena looks at Aiaka from behind a veil of her tears. Whatever happens, we are here for you. Aiaka hugged her. The two of them slept in the bed, hugging each other like they used to do when she stayed in Aiaka's house for the evening.